Hey friends, what's up? Philip here with Points of Philip, and I'm actually coming to you with some news, although I'm a day late. So yesterday, that's Wednesday, or Tuesday, actually, today's Wednesday, Bilt made a huge announcement that, well, may not be actually be as huge as originally thought. So, Bilt, for those of you that don't know, is a credit card that gives you points on rent. And so you can actually use the Bilt payment portal to actually pay your rent on the card with no fee, which is actually kind of the huge operative word here. You can actually earn points up to 100,000 points per year on rental payments. And so Bilt Card kind of broke the mold here, right? They are the ones that are famous for if you rent, you need the Bilt card, or at least as John Lang consistently says. But Bilt decided to make an announcement. Of course, they've made this announcement several different times. Most recently, last spring, where they actually announced that they were going to allow people to start to earn points on mortgage payments. And so this way, the Bilt card would not only appeal to people who rent, but also to people who own homes or at least pay mortgages. And so this we got a little bit more of a refinement of the vision yesterday, and that was that Bilt officially partnered with United Wholesale Mortgage, UWM, to exclusively give points on mortgage payments, specifically on-time mortgage payments, to the Bilt platform. And so this is kind of an interesting kind of evolution of things. First of all, it made it seem like it was kind of open-ended, at least last spring, but now it's not as open-ended as we originally thought. And so now we have to think about, well, is this still a good deal, or maybe should we consider something else? And so before we get into that, though, I want to ask you guys to like and subscribe. Doing that helps me and YouTube know that what I'm doing is helpful, and that in turn helps more people to view the content, something I'd be really appreciative of. Also helpful, too, is if you leave a comment in the section below what you think about this new system from Bilt. Is this something that you will consider? Would you actually consider using your UHM or UWM as your mortgage provider? Or honestly, do you even have kind of a say in the matter? But we'll get back into that. Now that that's out of the way, though, let's go ahead and get into the nitty gritty here. So this Bilt program is interesting, right? So we don't know how much you earn, right? Could it be 1 point per dollar? Could it be 500 points per payment? We don't specifically know that. And because it's Bilt and their kind of announcements can change over time, we can't really speculate as to whether or not we're actually working with something that is helpful. But we can compare it to something else, and that's the Mesa Homeowner Credit Card. And so the Mesa Homeowner Credit Card currently gives you access to 1 point per dollar for making a mortgage payment with any mortgage provider. More importantly, though, if you refinance your mortgage or you go through a mortgage lender that's on the Mesa portal, you actually get 1 point per dollar of your home purchase or your mortgage refinance. And so if your home is, let's say you own $300,000 on your home, you refinance with a Mesa provider through the Mesa portal, you get 300,000 Mesa points. And so that's pretty interesting. But again, we don't really know what Bilt's program will look like. We just know that basically for every on-time mortgage payment through United Wholesale Mortgage, you will get Bilt points. We just don't know how many, what that looks like. But it makes it seem like that particular thing is that you don't actually have to use the credit card to earn those points. And that's kind of a key thing that's going on with the Mesa card as well. So the Mesa card, you don't actually use the Mesa card to pay your mortgage payment. Instead, you just have to tell Mesa that you paid your mortgage payment, and then they kind of take you at your word for it. Sometimes they require you to submit an actual mortgage statement so you can verify the amount of points. But I've heard from a lot of people that actually don't require that too. So before we get into too deep down the Mesa rabbit hole, though, I wanted to go back to the Bilt program. And so there's the Bilt program and there's the Bilt MasterCard. And currently, basically, Bilt is working on kind of finalizing moving over the Wells Fargo card. So Bilt has a co-branded card with Wells Fargo over to a different provider. And so that's assuming to be sometime either in December or January, possibly later. But the baseline is that multiple Bilt cards will now replace the single Bilt card through Wells Fargo. Interestingly enough, though, the Wells Fargo Bilt card is actually still able to be applied to. So there's no sign-up bonus for this card. There's no annual fee, though. And you do earn 1 point per dollar on rent up to, again, 100,000 points. And then you earn 5 points per dollar or more on Bilt Neighborhood Dining Partners. And so the Neighborhood Dining is very similar to any other kind of like points around town, Marriott, or, the Southwest Dining Program, kind of any one of those generic dining programs is very similar to what the Bilt Neighborhood Dining Program is. And then you get 3 points per dollar on every other dining purchase. So the Bilt card is kind of a competitor when it comes to, say, if you're dining out, right? You could use the Saver card for 3x or the Bilt card for 3x. It also gives you this payment on rent, right? Or, the rewards on rent. Now, you also do get 5x points on Lyft rideshare purchases, which I don't know how much people are using Lyft, but it feels like that may not be as important as Lyft or Bilt definitely wants you to think it is, right? And then also you get 2x points per dollar on travel, and this is anything booked directly. And so travel car rental agencies, cruise lines, or even through the Bilt travel portal, 2x points, which matches the Chase Sapphire Preferred, and it also matches the Venture card or the Venture X card for that matter as well. Again, the Bilt card has no annual fee, but you do have to use the card at least 5 times each statement in order to earn any points whatsoever, not just your rental points. Now, the reason why we like Bilt, and I think it's safe to say that nearly everyone likes the concept of Bilt, is that they have the transfer partners, right? So Bilt has most famously Hyatt. Most famously, they also have Alaska, the Atmos program as well. And so those miles are very, very valuable. At least they currently are. It's widely speculated that those will be devalued at some point, but it hasn't yet happened, so we'll see what happens with that. But in addition to that, you also have United, Southwest. There's a lot of different transfer partners with Bilt, but again, Hyatt and Alaska, or Atmos, sorry, are probably going to be the big ones that we care about, just because those are the programs that are kind of the most robust when it comes to getting value for those points. And so the Bilt program, right, is nice for the rental payments or the rental points, potentially nice for the maybe mortgage payments as long as it's with that particular mortgage provider. But then, we like it because of those transfer partners, and that is huge, right? So those Bilt points can really be valuable, even if they are a little bit harder to earn. So before we get too far into the video, I do want to talk about today's sponsor, and that's actually Points of Phillip. Some of you probably been watching my videos for a little bit. I've only been around for about 6 or 7 months now, but I have enjoyed talking about the worlds of credit cards, points, and miles. And I really, really have found that a lot of people have kind of very specific questions when it comes to their credit card journey. And so I've actually decided to offer a couple of different range of, consultations. And so we actually do have kind of a mini consultation, and that's available for 20 minutes or less if you just kind of have a bunch of quick questions that you want to sit down and really kind of power through. But if you kind of do want a longer kind of discussion of overall strategy, I do offer that as well. And so that's available on my website as well, available in the link in the description. And, I'd love to talk to you and kind of see what it is, where you are in your journey. How can we help you get to where you want to be and kind of figure out where your game should go from there? But anyway, thanks again for listening to this message, and let's get back into the video. Let's compare that to Mesa. So we talked a little bit about kind of everything, but some of the weakness of the Mesa card is that it doesn't give you points on rent. And so you're not earning points towards rent. You're not saving up, right? And with the Bilt card, you can actually use those Bilt points to go towards a down payment to buy a house, which you can also do with the Mesa card, but then you really shouldn't get the Mesa card if you are not already a homeowner anyway. So that's also needs to be considered. But the Mesa card here, let's go into it. First of all, it's no annual fee, right? Which is nice, but it also has a coupon book, which we'll get into in the future. But this one allows you to earn 1 point per dollar spent on mortgage payments. And so this could be, let's say if you're escrowed, right? So my particular mortgage payment, I think, is $2,400 a month. But then between the taxes and the insurance and everything, it works out to be about $100 a month. And so, we have that escrowed out. We're trying to work on kind of reducing that and kind of figuring that out. But that earns 2,800 points per month. And so now you also... The real superpower of this card is definitely kind of in the unique approach to the multiplier. So it's not an everyday card. It's definitely not a dining card. Let's take a look here at the 3X categories, and that's going to be huge. It's going to be home improvement, decor, maintenance, utilities, daycare, a lot of home and family expenses, right? So if you buy a couch, that could be 3 points per dollar. If you buy a rug, that could be 3 points per dollar. If you go to Lowe's and get a new kitchen set, that's 3 points per dollar. And so this is blows it out of the house, blows everything out of the water, specifically if you are a homeowner. Because if you're someone who has to do maintenance, right? 3 points per dollar, right? So when my wife and I, we had to recently get a new edger. And so we went to Lowe's, and the reason why we went to Lowe's is, first of all, because it codes 3 points per dollar on every purchase, but there's also a coupon of $30 every quarter that you get off of that. And so despite the fact that there's no annual fee on this card, you get coupons, and that's kind of huge too. But 3 points per dollar on Lowe's, this is insane. Like if you're a homeowner, that's crazy. Like the things that have coded as 3x for me so far, the electrician has coded as 3x, the pool guy is coded as 3x. Let's see, our power bill, our water bill, our car insurance is coded as 3x. Just so many things are 3 points per dollar. Now, the kicker is, in order to earn the the mortgage points on the Mesa card, you do have to spend at least $1,000 on the card in a billing cycle. And so, essentially, if you're someone like me, where your power bill, your water bill, your car insurance, all those things amount to about $1,000 a month anyway, then this is just gravy. It's an easy way to get an extra 5,000 to 6,000 points per month, which means an extra 60,000 to 70,000 points per year that can really go towards kind of a free business class seat per year as well. And so now it does need to be said that the transfer partners with Mesa are not as strong. We do still have some hotels with the Core Live Limitless. We do still have some airfare programs like Air Canada, Air Canada is there. We have Aeromexico is there. We also have Air India, which is actually pretty strong when it comes to booking United flights. So that's actually pretty interesting. And then there's a couple obvious partners as well. But, you do have to kind of look more for that value. Cathay Pacific is also important as well, for that matter. And so there's partnerships with that. The points are not as strong as when it comes to, say, the Bilt program, specifically with Hyatt or with Atmos points, but you can earn a lot of points on this card. And so that's important to note as well. And so let's take a look here at anything else that we need to know. So let's take a look at the credit. So now, in the before times, when I first got this card in May, it did say that there was a kind of a big box store credit. And so if you got a membership with Sam's or Costco or even BJ's, you got $65 annually each year, paid by, reimbursed as long as you put it on this card. Now, that has been refined a little bit. I think there's more of a partnership because it's specifically labeled as a Costco purchase now. So it's 65 annually specifically for Costco. And so if you don't already have a Costco membership, then you get one free for having the card. Congratulations. But if you do already shop at Costco, this $65 a year is nice. It's completely free. It gives you a free Costco membership just by having this no annual fee card. Now, you do also get $120 in annual WAG credits. These are dog walker credits. And so a friend of mine actually used WAG to get help walk their dog when they were actually staying at a Kimpton in Atlanta. And so it seemed like that was a decent process, at least that part of it. The Kimpton may have been a little bit less than desirable for them, but at least the WAG credit appeared to work pretty well. And then we also have the $120 annual Lowe's credit, and that comes in the form of $30 every quarter. And so I actually haven't used it this quarter, so I definitely need to. And then we get the $100 Armadillo home warranty credit, which I'm never going to use. $120 from the Farmer's Dog, which we probably have gotten about half that because we order from them every other month. And so $60 at least off of that order. Although the real kind of bummer there is it only earns 1 point per dollar. Okay, let's get back into the multipliers though, because I talked about the 3x. Then we get 2 points per dollar on groceries, gas, EV charging, and then we get 1 point per dollar on everything else. And so that everything else is kind of a bummer, right? If you use this out to eat, it's only going to be 1 point per dollar. It's not great, right? So this definitely can't be the only card in your wallet. The Bilt card could probably make more of a case for that. But the Mesa card is definitely strong for the right use case. Now, I want to evaluate the news here. So though we have Bilt, we have Mesa card. It depends on how much you earn and how easy it is to go with this mortgage provider. So United Wholesale Mortgage is They say that they're actually pretty easy to use. So I haven't gone through it myself. We don't have a mortgage with this provider, but like if it's relatively cheap, comparatively speaking, at least with interest rate, and it's a little bit easier to originate the loan, which they claim it is, it can make sense, right? Specifically, if it is 1 point per dollar, we don't know that for certain. That has not been confirmed, but if it is at least 1 point per dollar, maybe more, that would be a solid option if that works out for you. Now, if you're already in the position where you have a mortgage, the Mesa card probably will be easier for you because, well, you don't have to be tied down to a specific lender. And so my wife and I, we went with a local lender when we bought our house. And, it's been working out pretty well. That our mortgage has been sold 2 or 3 times since then, but the interest rate was actually competitive for the time, and it definitely wouldn't make sense for us to refinance at this point, just because the mortgage rates are a little bit higher than what they were when we actually made the purchase. And so this definitely will not make sense for a lot of people because, well, you have to be tied down to this one provider. And that's probably why they made this deal. They want more and more people to have their mortgage here, but I just don't see it working out a lot for a lot of people. And so it would have been huge news, but it's maybe not so good now. In fact, if you actually are a homeowner, I definitely think the Mesa card is more worthwhile. At least it has been for me. I've really loved it. My wife and I are currently working on a special kind of referral bonus. I referred 2 people to the card, and they gave me the option to spend $10,000 in 3 months and earn up to, I think, 50,000 points. And so we're about halfway done with that spend right now. And we have another month and a half. And so we're doing pretty well on that one. So it's not the best sign-up bonus, at least compared to some of these American Express sign-up bonuses. But hey, 50,000 points is 50,000 points, specifically when you understand the fact that it's like 90,000 Cathay miles for British Airways first class ticket across the pond. And so, that's not bad. We're really impressed and happy about that. And so that's kind of what we're working on. But anyway, let me know in the comment section again what you think about this particular card. Is this news big? Is this going to change kind of your card strategy moving forward? What are you going to do with it? Anyway, thanks again for joining me. I can't wait to see you guys, and we'll see you again next time. Bye.